Okay, so The Kitchen is definitely not a movie about three friends who start up a cooking show in New York. The wives of three low-level gangsters in Hell's Kitchen take matters into their own hands when their husbands get locked up in prison. Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish, and Elisabeth Moss star, along with Donald Gleason, Common, and Bill Camp. Now, the performances by the three leads are outstanding. I mean, they just kill it. McCarthy plays her role with timidness, but also this growing strength and confidence. But really deep down, she still has this fear or this unsuredness that just seeps through in little movements and just like wavering in her voice or even the look in her eyes, and it's super convincing. Tiffany Haddish grows from a quiet but spunky personality into somebody who is pretty much fearless and fierce. My favorite performance is Elisabeth Moss. I mean, when she starts out, she is just timid and scared, and then she grows and just becomes just super strong and a little unhinged. When you combine Moss with Donald Gleason, you get just amazing chemistry and great scenes. They also provide some good off-kilter humor. As the story progresses, we kind of see the characters grow, but the story itself almost becomes kind of like a day in the life type of film. There's not much tension that builds, even though there is great potential in the story for a lot of tense moments. Now, this is a film that's partly about gangsters, and then you also have the cops and the feds playing into this as they're kind of just trying to figure out what's going on in the whole grand scheme of things, and that really could lend itself to some great tension and a really good climax. But they don't utilize it. It just kind of fizzles out and it feels a bit wasted. Now, that's not to say that there's no tension in the film at all, because that's not true. There is some tension that builds up. But I checked my watch and it was about an hour and 15 minutes into this thing. And for two reasons. One, because I thought the film was just about over and I wanted to see where we were at in this, because the tension was just starting to ramp itself up. Like, we were getting a little taste of some good, like, climax. We're heading towards the climax. And then I thought, well, gosh, the movie's just about over, right? We're at the 2-hour mark. And that wasn't the case either, that it was only an hour and 15 minutes in. The movie's runtime is an hour and 42 minutes. And so to get an hour and 15 into it without much of climax building or even like the super ramping up of that was just kind of, I wanted more from that. I wanted to feel like this growing unease or this growing climax that I know is going to come. Even if it comes 5 minutes before the end of the film, I'm okay with that. But it just wasn't. But we do, though, get, at the last 30 minutes, we do get some ramping up of some action, of some tense moments, of just, you can feel that they are leading towards a climax, but that climax is not totally what I expected either. I thought we would go higher, I thought we'd go more, and it's not bad, it's just not exactly what I was hoping for or what I was expecting. And that's why I'm kind of torn on how I feel about The Kitchen. Because on one hand, I absolutely loved the performances. And I think the story has a lot of potential, and I liked where they were going with the story. On the other hand, I think it took too long for the film to get to its point. I mean, it didn't have this great climax, like I've said. There wasn't any twist to it. It felt a little lackluster overall, based on what I felt the potential of the movie is and what the story was really presenting to us. It had some amazing potential to just rock our world or to just suck us in so much where we were like, ooh, wow. And then when the climax happens, when that pinnacle moment, we're like, woo, hair blown back, like, wow, that was spectacular. And we just didn't get that. I know this is based off of a comic book or a graphic novel, and so the story has really intrigued me and made me interested to read that because I want to find out what else is to the story. What else is there? Are there details? Is there more of it that just didn't translate to the screen or didn't make it because maybe it's just too long? I don't know what that is, but I feel like the potential is there. I've said it, that I want to read it now and I want to see what didn't get put on screen. If you're looking for a film with some seriously strong female leads, a little bit of comedy mixed with some good drama, and then the whole gangster type feel thrown in also, check out The Kitchen. There's no nudity, but there is sex, a lot of profanity, and a whole lot of violence. I give The Kitchen 3.5 out of 5 couches. So tell me, what is your favorite gangster movie that isn't the Godfather series or Goodfellas? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.